Hi, my name is Chukwuka Monye, and I am an under 40 CEO.
The African Renaissance. The concept that the African people and nation shall overcome the current challenges confronting the continent and achieve cultural, scientific, and economic renewal is here, with young men and women taking the lead. Some call them the new school heroes. We call them under 40 CEOs.
Chukwuka Monye is an innovation strategist, corporate development, and consumer intelligence expert, also known as CCM. He is considered by many as a social entrepreneur, having contributed to the successful setup and transformation of numerous businesses. He holds a master's in business administration and a PhD in strategy and innovation, both from University of Oxford. He has a bachelor's degree in business administration from Warner University in Florida, where he graduated with honors, and was also the university's first Black Union president. He received several awards, including Who's Who in American universities and colleges and the United States Achievement Academy Award given to top students in the country. He has also attended management programs at Harvard Business School and INSEAD. Chukwuka Monye is the founder of one of the leading business advisory firms, Ciuci Consulting.
All right, welcome to Under 40 CEOs, Chukwuka.
It's a pleasure. How are you?
I'm very well, and you?
I'm very well.
Looking good. All right, let's get into it. You were born in Lagos, raised in Lagos, attended your primary, secondary school in Lagos, and then shipped off to the United States. But there's not much out there about your preteen years. So would you tell us a little bit about your preteen years and growing up in Lagos?
Preteen years, very, very formative, I guess, years of my life. Very interesting time. I would call it a time that I would never forget. Particularly when you think about the secondary school, boarding school experience. A lot happened for me in those years. These are, times that even spiritually, for instance, you had experiences that, shaped who you are today. So I'll just give a few examples. Secondary school, that's where I became a stronger Christian. Yeah. And how did that happen? I like music a lot. I'm walking down, going to my dorm. I hear some nice music somewhere, and they tell me, it's happening in the church. I say, okay, let us go there, and then that pulls me in, and the rest is history. Or is it the friends with different, diverse backgrounds? Federal schools. I went to Federal Government College at Johnny King. So federal schools have people from different backgrounds. For me, that was quite important because it made me respect people from different orientations.
True.
I think that's one of the things when sometimes I interact with people, from certain types of schools, you can tell that they don't have such exposure to varying backgrounds. And I think that's one valuable thing that I picked from that. But one other important thing is just work ethic. What the federal school did was it made us learn to be disciplined. It made us learn to work. The work ethic was there. There was pride in trying to pursue excellence. You don't find those kinds of things anymore. Right now, some people are ashamed of being caught or perceived to be pursuing excellence. It's not a cool thing. What is cool is for you to be doing, some negative stuff, right? But we seem to be in a generation at the time where it was cool to have straight A's. Everyone's trying to be the best in their class.
Yes.
And that was very good because it's all these different qualities and values are the things that I took away. I did spend a few months in Nigeria at Ogun State University.
Okay.
Agoiwoyi before, you
eventually got shipped off.
Before I eventually got shipped off. But I can say that even when I got to the United States for my undergraduate studies, a lot of the, I guess, teachers and professors and all and the likes recognize some of these values that I'm talking about, and they found it interesting to the extent that they suggested that the admissions officer needed to recruit more people from the same secondary school that I attended. So I think it contributed a great deal, and not just secondary school. I went to Maryland Convent Primary School.
Okay.
That was also fantastic. Someone says is either Maryland or Maryland. But
Maryland or Maryland.
Or Maryland. But it was also a fantastic contributor to to my foundation.
So this values around the pursuit of excellence, basically.
Yes.
But tell me more about your aspirations as a teenager.
I wanted to be an investor. As a teenager. So I wanted to do two things. Okay. Number one was to do what my dad was doing.
Which is?
He was an importer. Okay. So at the time, a lot of the computer games, the Nintendos, when the CDs came out, when laser discs came out, my father was like the first group of people to import those things. Oh, wow. Then we didn't have a lot of English content on laser discs. They were Asian, because many of them were manufactured in Asia. So then I used to bump my head to like Chinese music, just because we had laser discs. That was available. That was what was available. So I wanted to import. I wanted to be a good business person. I learned a lot of business just from watching my father. But beyond that, I also wanted to become an investor. The form in which this would take at the time, I didn't know. It was later on I started to hear about venture capitalism and all these other things. But then it was more, okay, I need to make money, so that I can invest in people's businesses. So those are some of the things I wanted to do from a business perspective. In terms of will I say the social dimension or the fun stuff, I wanted to be in the arts. I wanted to be in the creative space.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't do a lot of that these days in terms of, I used to sketch, I used to paint. But I wanted to be in that space because I felt that artists were not making a lot, in this part of the world. And so I thought that there might be a creative way to give them the right kind of exposure and make, a better living from the arts. So these were some interesting things. I loved music. So there are quite a few things. I played the congas at the time.
Oh, nice.
Yes. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. I recall, organizing a lot of raves at the time. I'm sure, you did those things. Make sure it's profitable, make sure you make money.
Of course.
How do you, so look at the business side of entertainment. That was a big thing for me as well. Okay. So these were things that crossed my mind at the time, right?
So you would eventually study, business administration.
Yes.
And of course, you got shipped off to do this at the Warner University in Florida.
Correct.
How did you end up there?
Yeah, so Warner's story was quite interesting because I was already in the university here. I knew that I would go I'll get shipped off at some point, but I wasn't sure what university was going to be because I needed a scholarship, so it was really more, where will I get the scholarship? So I wrote my exams at the time, and I was just focused on my studies at the university here, when I started to get feedback from American universities. You know, some were giving scholarship. In fact, I remember getting one very good one. I think it was University of Miami. I wanted Florida. I wanted somewhere tropical. And I can't remember what the amount was at the time, but it was big. So I was so excited. And I said, man, I'm off to, UN. I'm off, until I read the letter, the admission letter and the offer that they'd given me. And I saw that, assuming it was, $30,000 scholarship. I found out that, okay, maybe their school fees was about 50 something or 60,000.
Wow.
So I said, okay, what is this now? I thought you had given me some
full scholarship.
Full scholarship, So quite a number of them gave me very, reasonable size scholarships. It's just that it didn't pay off the tuition. And so I continued to explore others, and I finally got into Warner that gave me academic and athletic scholarship.
Oh, nice.
Yes. At the time, every Nigerian is a footballer. Whether or not you play, they just draw that conclusion.
Yes.
And I said, oh boy, when was the last time I played soccer? I have to show them. So I actually played.
Wow.
I played, yes, defensive midfield.
Played well.
I played well. I played well. But the moment the athletic program, kicked off, I quickly potted.
Really?
I said, no, let me go to my first love.
Amazing. So I see a trend with you. I mean, just looking at your profile, your bio, a thirst for knowledge, a hunger, for knowledge. You've attended INSEAD, taken a course there. You've been to Harvard, taken a course there. What drives this quest to know more?
So the quest to know more is linked with the quest for excellence. Yeah. I tell people that you do not know what you do not know. So the only way I can close the gap of that thing that I do not know is to learn so that I know.
Yes.
Right? So, so that's what it has been for me over the years, because you're here, you're providing services to clients, and after a while you're thinking, you're not satisfied. Yes, the client is happy. Don't get me wrong. Client feels, wow, I wasn't thinking about this. But you deep down, you feel like, oh, something is not, complete about what I've just offered. At that point, I'm like, no. So INSEAD, for instance, I was, running the commercial unit of a telecom company. And I wasn't satisfied with, everybody was raving, everyone was coming to my department to learn from me. But no, something was amiss. So I said, hey, there's some telecom, program at INSEAD, and I'm going for it. I get there, I'm sitting amidst all the other chief marketing officers of other big telcos around the world, and I'm listening to them and hearing the kind of innovation that they were all coming up with. And I said, oh boy, I have to step up my game. And that's what happens. Typically, like many people say, a lot of institutions, the value they bring to the table is really the network. By the time you interact with participants, it's just really, really powerful. So I think over time, I've learned that and I recommend this to everybody, really, that at specific points in your career and in your life, you need to inject, new knowledge, because that's the only way you can innovate. You cannot continue to do things the same way, So
based on old knowledge.
Based on old knowledge.
Obsolete knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Chukwuka believes he doesn't know what he doesn't know, and this has driven him to not only take courses at Ivy League institutions like Harvard and INSEAD, but he would also bag a master's degree from Oxford University in the pursuit of excellence.
You had bagged your master's in business administration from the University of Oxford. Now, you just spoke about things that you don't know that you don't know.
Right.
So could you tell me about that one thing that
Okay.
you did not know, but now know?
Okay, so with the MBA, something powerful happened to me, and happened at the end of the program, actually during our graduation ceremony. So the dean of the university gave a speech, and he said something. And by the time he finished his speech, in his final words, he said that it's important that we begin to learn how to do decent business decently. That was one of the most profound statements that I actually took away from the program, interestingly. Why? Because for me, it hit me that, okay, this is the dean. And why is he being emphatic about doing business decently? Does it mean that in the world and in the society at large, that people are not conducting business decently? That was pretty interesting to me. And for that to be a critical point that he was passing across, I said, no, I'm going to hold that and put that in the pocket with me. That was one thing that was pretty powerful. Now, beyond that, I think that one of the things that I learned was the softer side of business. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. We had a course in California. We had a course called entrepreneurial finance. One of the things I picked from that course specifically was that things like private equity and the investment banking and all that started from the East Coast in the United States. Okay. But somehow it seems like, the likes of California and the West Coast are dominating that space when it comes to venture capitalism and, incubation and all that. But why? Very, very important question. And I posed that to an industry person that came to teach us in California. And he said, well, an investment people most times think is a hard thing. But it's not hard, it's soft. That those that started it thought about it from a numbers perspective. But that in the West Coast, they think about it from a people perspective. It's about the relationships. So immediately you get into the environment, they're very quick to recommend you and refer you to people. If you ask for help, they'll tell you, oh yeah, I'll give you the number. That was not the kind of response I was getting in the East Coast. Everybody didn't want to give you information. But this was different. And they said, yeah. That for them, the value comes from the ecosystem thriving, not from the individuals thriving. And I just said, wow.
Let's talk a little bit about your professional journey.
Okay.
You started in Miami, Florida. Do you want to take us on this journey?
Lakeland, Florida.
Lakeland.
Yes, Central Florida, yes.
Okay.
So I started in Lakeland with, Citigroup. At the time, it was called Solomon Smith Barney. Their private client group. So I started there. I actually started as an intern there. And it was very interesting because it was one of those opportunities that I went there knocking on door for a while. They were not recruiting. I was dogged. I said, no, I want this job, And the guy said, well, I'm probably going to give you this job because you've harassed me, more or less. He said it in different ways. And I said, don't worry. Anyhow you want to say it, just give me the job. Yeah. But I started off there. And after a while, I moved to a credit union. I moved from capital markets, space to money market space. It was very interesting for me that how do you call yourself? It's like a cooperative in a way. That's what a credit union is. Okay. But how do you say you're not for profit, but you're so organized? You are a bank, literally. But the difference between both of you is that you plow your profits back into your operations rather than give it to shareholders. So I said, okay, fascinating. let me go and find out what's this about. And went there and I became, applied, got a job as a branch manager there. And the rest is history, really. I worked there for a bit before I moved back to Nigeria. On getting to Nigeria, I did not...
Why did you move back to Nigeria?
Why did I move back?
Yes.
Well, two things. Because most times when I talk to some of my mentees, they say that I was not okay to come back to come back to Nigeria. But I moved back for two reasons. Number one was I felt that the sooner I returned, the sooner I'll be able to build my base and capacity to give back to Nigeria. I almost felt like if I spent more time in the United States, I'd be wasting time, So that was one reason. The second reason was my other siblings were still in Nigeria. I felt that despite how much I was earning, I wasn't able to send as much as I would like after taxes and all that. I was actually supporting my family. I was actually taking care of my siblings, with the money I was earning. And I said, no, it's not working. I'm working so hard, but yet it's not, these things are not adding up. That I'd rather come back, generate naira, and and sort them out,
Okay, so you came back and took a role. Where?
Yeah, so I worked with a company. Remember, I had this interest in investing. And so initially I thought I would work with some of my contacts from Smith Barney, raise money from all of them, and then invest in Nigeria. So the first step was, okay, let me come to Nigeria and understand this entire market. Are there real opportunities for me to invest? So I came back, interacted with a lot of people in the investment space and other entrepreneurs. And one of the takeaways at the time was that the market was not mature. Okay? And that a lot of the important things that you need, including regulatory framework and all those types of things to make investments secure, were not there. So very quickly in my head, I said, I cannot go and collect all these monies and make all sorts of promises in terms of the returns. So let me take a step back, because one of the things that I heard as the consistent problem was that people was an issue. Human capacity, there was a huge gap in that space. I mean, I would speak with some friends who were running businesses and they would tell you their next strategy is the Indian strategy because the Nigerians are not working. And I said, wow. So if you have all these kinds of issues, then why would I be talking about investing? Let me take a step back and invest from a non-financial perspective. Let me work and let me work with people. Let me train them. Let me be on the operation side of things. So I had to change the way I was thinking about my investing in Nigeria from financial to non-financial. And then I worked with a man called Aloy Chife, who was setting up then a very unique technology business, called SocketWorks. I decided to work with him to set up SocketWorks that built a lot of portals and educational tech solutions and things like that. So that was my first stint in providing support to companies. So I did that more like a contractor or freelance consultant. After that, I left SocketWorks because it was time bound. It was a contract, and then enjoyed the fact that, oh wow, he had this opportunity. These were the things he was trying to achieve, and I helped him actualize it. And I started to meet a lot of people who were saying the same thing. I have this problem, can you solve it? And I started to, provide consulting services as an independent, provider. When there's a company called Charisma Cosmetics at the time, helped them with expansion. There's a company called TN Focus, prepaid calling cards, helped them with that as well. And so many other companies. It was just, after that, I went to, I spent the longest of my pre-CUC years was at Suburban Telecom in Abuja. And at the time, Suburban said, we're trying to build our marketing department. It's one of our areas of weakness. We need someone to come and drive it and all that. And I went, and I enjoyed it. Telecommunication. That was the early days when all the different operators were coming in. So there was a lot of action. So I learned a lot. I got really soaked into the telco space. Sometimes you would think I was an engineer. I knew all the words, I knew how to design things and all that. So it was after that I decided, okay, CUC Consulting, you know what? I've enjoyed providing these consulting services, but it looks like I need to do it. I need to scale. I need people. And in 2007, in January, CUC Consulting was established. Hi, my name is Chukwuka Monye, and you too can be an under 40 CEO.